Welcome back, everybody, to another martial arts video. Manga Interviewer 9. Today, we're interviewing somebody really special. Before we get to that, though, I want to talk about this. As you both know, I am still holding a manga competition and over on my website. Yeah. So, read, dream, and imagine. If you head down, you can read the manga that we have out currently: Lost Treasure, Brave Soul, or Devil Strike. You can read our light novels, even Polymon Fur. You can sign up for our newsletters, which are we're getting those pretty soon, so don't you worry. But if you head down, you will see our Penguin Highway manga competition. And with that, we also are doing, or not also, we of course are doing our International Penguin Highway manga competition. The first place winner gets 400 USD. If that's more in your currency, man, I hope it is. And as of right now, you can enter until February 12th. Winners will be announced March 1st. So just understand that. You can rip this image straight from our website, and you can use the hashtag PH Manga Contest to show. Now, going away from that and getting into the very special thing, the very special person we are talking today, I'm really excited because it's somebody that I met back in March of 2025, March 25th of 2023 at Bowling Green State University at Animarathon, where I was hosting my very first panel. And I was sad because I missed his, because ours were at the exact same time. But this person is an American voice actor who has done work for Funimation, Entertainment, Crunchyroll, Octron 5000, and Sentai Filmworks. He's best known for playing Monkey D. Garp, Alias Ainsworth from the Ancient Magus Bride, Monkey D. Garp from One Piece, Marco Cobalt in Fairy Tail, and loads of other characters. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between, please welcome Brian Mathis.
Hey!
Hopefully that was good.
That was a great intro, man.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank
You're
you.
very welcome. You're
And I'm
very
really
welcome.
impressed with your setup here, and this StreamYard thing is cool. I'm very impressed with that.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, I like using it because it makes, like I said, it makes it easier. So
Yeah,
appreciate
that's
that.
cool.
So I guess the first thing is first. Tell us your origin story, man. Tell us how you got started in voice acting and even acting, because I know you do a lot of stage plays as well. And I wish I lived in the area because I'd come and see them. But tell us how you got started in that.
All right. Well, I'll do the best I can with with putting all that together. First,
Yes.
it was great to meet you in Bowling Green, Ohio, and
Same
had a
here.
great time at Animarathon. They were so good to me, and it was cool to meet all the fans, and I just had a great time. And I was going to tell you real quick about
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
my panel. I'm actually glad you couldn't make my panel. The one time the one time I do a panel about voice technique and the health and all this kind of thing, I lost my voice
Oh
the
no.
second day of the con, and I don't know what happened. And I was doing a panel with the mic like right here on my voice, and I had to did the most unprofessional thing, and I kept apologizing, but everybody stayed with me, and everybody was a trooper. But
Yeah.
anyway, but those things happen. It's just one of those things that happens even when we're working. Sometimes you can't even um, work when you don't have your instrument working right. But
Yeah.
no, I've been an actor for over 35 years. I do a lot of stage work. Um, Done a little bit of TV. I got to do some TV, a little bit of TV last year. Um, and the voice acting thing, I had always wanted to do voice acting, and it's such a it it's just like all the other performing arts. It's its own entity. People that are singers, people that are strictly stage actors, people who
Yeah.
are uh, just voice or simply voice actors. You know, um, and so diversifying yourself and getting into those other realms um, is its own set of challenges, right? Because you have to network and you have to audition and you have to be uh, you basically start from scratch in all of these different disciplines, right?
Yeah.
Um, and um, I had never I had never uh, really pursued the voiceover thing hardcore. I had done a few here and there. I used to do some jingle singing in Nashville and
Ooh.
that sort of thing. So I had done a little bit of that kind of thing. But when I got back to the Dallas Fort Worth area in the early 2000s, I had been working with a lot of stage actors who were doing a lot of work for Funimation at the time, um, which back then was located in North Richland Hills, Texas, which is a city outside of Fort Worth.
Okay.
And that's where Funimation was located. And they said, you need to send them your demo and that sort of thing. And it was one of those things that, you know, you send a demo, you did a couple of auditions, and the first show I ever worked on for Funimation was a show called Hell Girl.
Okay.
And I don't remember anything about the episode really or anything because everything was thrown into the deep end of the pool because a lot of your fans might already know this, but some might not. When we are recording anime, you know, all the product is done except for putting on the English voiceover. And so they have a certain way on how that's recorded. We
Okay.
don't simply go into the studio and just record the the acting part. It has to be synced up with
Yeah.
the original anime, and they have a very specific way that they do it. A lot of other studios have different ways on how they do it, but it was basically learning how to fly the plane while you're in the plane, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a pretty steep learning curve right off the bat, but it's not as hard the second time. So,
Yeah.
uh, but anyway, that was a really long
No,
story.
no.
Um,
By all means.
anyway, so then it just kind of went from there. You do a couple of roles here and there. You come in for some what they call Walla sessions. If your fans are familiar with what Walla is, which is background and and that sort of thing, and you start building relationships just like you do in any other kind of business. You start building
Yes.
relationships with other directors there, other actors that ascend to the director place. They're actors that have ascended to a writing place or kind of laterally moved over to writing and voice acting.
Yeah.
So it's one of those kind of constantly evolving things that you're always networking, which is
Yeah.
not a bad thing. It's just the way it is. You would be doing that if you were selling real estate, you know?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of truth to that because so I in the past entered a couple different like international manga competitions. I'm a huge manga fan, by the way. Like
Okay.
that's why like I created my business and everything. And I mean, obviously you saw me at the Anime Con, but I'm a huge manga fan, and so I've entered just a couple international manga competitions, and I didn't place, but I had a lot of fun, you know, doing that, and that allowed me to network with people from France or Germany or Japan who are manga artists themselves. And it's a lot of what you said, just kind of like putting yourself out there, getting started, and then going from there and being like, oh wow, like this thing is actually starting to become something a little bit more. And you find that out about yourself, you're like, I'm actually good at this thing too. That's pretty crazy.
That's great
Did you
to hear. That's great to hear because that is really how you do it. I
Yeah,
I I feel like if you're an artist in any kind of capacity, you're you're constantly learning from your peers, and you're
yes,
also learning from um, less than effective work
yes,
from some of your counterparts. but it all goes into that boiling pot of that soup that you're making. It just uh,
Yeah, yeah.
it all comes together. And I, I saw a really cool interview recently. Not to, and you can edit this
No,
out if
no,
you want to, if I'm waxing
no,
rhapsodic here. I
no.
saw
You're
this
good. I
really
like this.
interview with the famous record producer Rick Rubin.
Okay,
And
Rick is a good. I bought his book and I read his book from front to back like
he's
twice. It's
a
so good.
he's a really smart guy. And
Yeah,
he said something recently I saw on a TikTok video, and it just really struck me. He said, you have to make your art for you.
100%.
You cannot make your art to meet fans' expectations or the
Yes.
public's expectations. You have to do it for you. And if they accept it and encourage it, then that's a bonus. That's a
Yeah.
bonus. And then you get to do what you've always wanted to do, which is create your art for other people, and they support you.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. They support you through social media. They support you monetarily. They support you, all kinds of things. And I was just like, wow, man, that's so cool. That's so cool. And uh, but anyway, um, so that's about all I had to say about that.
No,
But it's just
I.
it's
It's
about build,
true.
but you're doing the right thing. It's
Yeah.
uh, you're putting yourself out there. You're writing. You're learning. You're taking feedback. You're taking the criticism. And
Yeah.
you're finding what is worthy criticism against what is pointless criticism, and you throw that
Yeah.
away immediately, right?
Yeah.
um, but that's great, because it takes unfortunately, I feel like people, the public that does not create art, they they feel like it just kind of happens, and they
Yeah.
just go to the store and buy it. They go online and buy it. They turn on the TV and watch it. And it takes, some projects take months and months and months. Some take years. Some careers take years.
Yeah.
Um, it's just because you're staying true to yourself and what you do. And sometimes people love what you're doing, and some people not so much.
Yeah.
But I think you're doing a great thing, staying with it. And plus, you have the power of the internet. You can be completely international. You know,
Yeah. Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
No, we have a couple people international on the team, which is nice. But to go back to what you were saying about the Rick Rubin thing, like you just have to kind of create for yourself. That that's something when and I believe I saw the same video you were saying, but like it's true, and I think that that's with anything you're doing. It's when you're on stage or when you're on a show or when you're in the booth recording, you kind of have to just like, okay, I'm gonna do the best I can do. I'm gonna do this for me. Obviously, you're doing it for people to be entertained, but you're
Right,
like, I'm gonna do this for me first, and then that way I'm gonna be able to give the best performance I can possibly give.
right,
And then
right.
it's gonna turn into people being like, "Oh my gosh, you're like, I love the way you did this." You're like, "I'm glad you received it well. I
Yeah,
appreciate that."
exactly.
So
When you go in serving the piece or the work that you're working on, and you're honoring that, and you are bringing out your interpretation to the best of your abilities, and people are receiving it, um, they're receiving it well, then
yeah,
that's the bonus. That's the bonus.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, and just when you're having fun and you're also feeling challenged at the same time, I think that's really important too.
now, I want to ask you a question. Let's backtrack a bit. So
Sure.
you said you were basically doing theater in Houston, right? Or
Recently, yeah.
so
Recently,
well,
yeah.
recently, yes. But you were saying before you got into voice acting or how you got into it, people were telling you, "Hey, send this in." I want to ask you about your theater days because I think
Okay.
that that's very important
Okay.
to talking about your voice acting days, if you don't mind.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I think when I have, well, people of any age that they're 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 they'll ask me, "Hey, I'm really interested in getting into voice acting, and
yeah,
what's something what do I need to do first?" And they feel like they need to go out and buy equipment and all that kind of thing, and
yep,
that may be true, but you have to have the skills.
yeah,
and and somebody might say, in the very beginning, somebody might say, "Oh, you have a really unique voice, or you have a really nice voice, or you have the ability to do different kinds of characters," and that's great, and it's fun at parties, and it's great in the 90 seconds of your life that may happen with a group of friends or people that you hang out with.
yeah,
But if you really want to explore it, you have to go back to the second word in what we do, which is not just voice, but acting,
yes,
voice actor.
yes,
And so you
yes,
have to be an actor. Um, and I feel like uh, recording, especially with recording voiceover and anime, cartoons, anything like that, audiobooks,
yeah,
you have to have an acting understanding, and you have to know about developing characters and building a character and uh, that sort of thing. And I think one of the best ways that you can free yourself up is by taking improvisation classes.
yeah,
And acting classes are great. I'm not you if you want to be an actor, you need to be in some sort of class.
yeah,
Um, but the thing about improvisation, what I think is important about that for voice actors, it makes you be in the moment immediately. You have to make choices immediately. And because in improvisation, a lot of people think it's about being funny. It's not about being funny, because if you're focusing on being funny, you're not going to be funny. You have to be truthful, right? And then the comedy or the humor will come out of that, right? So with voice acting, I feel like improvisation keeps, like I said, keeps you in the moment. It makes you make choices, and sometimes you make character choices that, if you had thought about it, you might not have done that.
or you might not have done it that way too. Like,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. And a lot of times, well, all the times, when I go and record something, especially brand new,
uh huh,
um, you know, I don't come in there with any kind of preconceived idea about who this person or creature is and what they sound like, and you have to really rely on your director to understand the story and what they think this character might be like. These are kind of aspects of who they are.
yeah,
And you go in and you might read the first two or three lines of dialogue, they and you'll make a choice, and they'll say something akin to, "Okay, that might be on the right track. Let's take it a little bigger, or
yeah,
let's
yeah,
take it a little higher in your voice, or let's make this one a little more wacky." Um, or they'll come in with really good ideas, and from the beginning, this is a very um, for example, in Elias Ainsworth in Ancient Magus Bride, um, when Kyle Phillips cast me in that, um, he he asked. This is one of the earliest times that I was asked for specifically to do a role, and we talked about it. We talked about how I was going to approach the voice, and were we going to use an accent and all this kind of thing. And we actually had time in the studio to try some things,
Oh, that's
and
nice. That's nice.
and we we kind of came back to the place of my basically my normal speaking voice, but in a more relaxed, emotionless setting. So if you follow Ancient Magus Bride, which we just completed recording season 2,
Hey, congrats.
um, yeah, um, it's you know it sounds like there's no acting involved, but there still is, because
Yeah.
you're still having to say these thoughts and words from this creature who is not human, but he sounds human to everybody else. He doesn't get emotional, but he uh, he speaks very matter of factly all the time. So that had its own kind of acting challenges. So uh, and you're always thinking about those kind of things. So when you're getting started, you're not simply going in with, oh, I do all these wacky characters and I have all these crazy voices. Well, they might not always be appropriate, and
Yeah.
um, so but acting, getting in some good acting classes, some improvisation classes, and learning about your voice is very important. Learning how you sound, recording yourself, listening back to yourself and hearing what you're doing, because a lot of times we'll make choices and we hear them in our head and we hear them when we're doing them, and we play them back, and you'll go, that's not what I was thinking about at all. That doesn't
Yeah.
sound like I wanted it to sound.
Yeah.
Um, so you have to be self-critical of yourself. Um, and in the studio, of course, you don't have that luxury of time. Um,
Yes.
uh, by the time you reach that point of where you're in the studio, they probably trust you enough to make good choices, and to get it done. So, um, but acting and voice acting, it's an ever evolving art form, just like any kind of art form.
Yes.
And you as an actor should always be willing to take good feedback, helpful criticism, because you want to keep growing. You
Yeah.
don't want to be you don't want to be the guy. When I say guy, I mean everybody. When you don't want to be the guy who everybody goes, oh, that person always makes the same kind of choices. They just do the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Um, and there are very few people that's their shtick, that's their
Yeah.
thing. They do the
Yeah.
same thing, and that's what works. But it's much more interesting to me to bring different things to the table, and surprise uh, yourself, and surprise your directors, and surprise the fans, even, because they'll go, "Wow, I didn't even know that was you that did that." Because for example, I was just talking about Ancient Magus Bride, and Elias has that certain sound to his voice, the very calm, emotionless, almost Dr. Spock kind of way of
Yeah.
thinking, but he's not based on Dr. Spock at all. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not what I mean. Um, and then juxtaposed to a recurring character that I do in Natsume's Book of Friends,
Okay.
which is uh, he's so cool. He doesn't have a name. He is a Chukyu, um, and he is a little cyclops looking guy with a little tiny unicorn horn, and he's super wacky, and he's way up here in my voice, up in my falsetto and my head voice, and the highest part of my voice, and doesn't sound anything like
What
Elias.
you normally? Okay, okay, yeah,
But Jade Saxton, who has been directing that show, knew me, and she knew that I had done some kind of wacky characters and things like that in the past, and she let me really have carte blanche and just do whatever I wanted and make really broad, crazy choices. So um, that's what was the point of all that? The point of all that
you're good. You're
is
good.
is that uh, you don't always know what you're going to do when you walk in the studio, um, and to go in and be absolutely fearless.
Yeah,
Um,
and this goes back to the, like you were saying, the point of the question. This goes back to you saying, acting is the first part of it, and then that can lead you to other things such as like voiceover work or voice acting or anything. And I think that's very important because, you know looking at your different roles that you've played in anime, I'm wondering if you have taken inspiration from the plays that you've done. Cinderella, by Roger and Hamstein's, or it's Roger and Hamstein's Cinderella.
mm,
The Chaplin the musical, Sweeney Todd, The Sound of
mm,
Music, all these
mhm.
things you've done. Have you ever taken any inspiration from the acting work that you've done on that, um, into
Yeah,
different anime roles that you've had? You know what I mean? Because I look at stuff like this, and I oftentimes think like, this is awesome seeing you in
yeah,
like these different outfits, these different costumes, and I'm like, this is just really inspiring to like be like, oh wow, like he's not just a voice actor,
right.
he acts, and that, like you said, is the very first principle to understanding, can I do this? Can I give the best performance, on the stage and off the stage? Because a lot of what you do in the booth, from what I'm understanding, is it's facial stuff too. It's you're using your whole body
Yeah,
to act and to do things, and I think that's the one thing people don't put two and two together, and that's why I wanted to bring up your stage work with your plays,
y-
because I know it has to play some sort of factor into
absolutely,
this. So
absolutely, it does. Oh, just for clarification, I was not in Chaplin. I was going to.
oh,
I'd gone to see a very, very good friend of mine play the lead role in Chaplin. But yes,
thank
all
you for that.
those, a lot of those shows, well, all of them, everything I've ever done, stage work, um, has been applied in the booth, um, when you're developing characters, and there's there's so much more going on stage than in the booth. You have, number one, you have things to remember when you're on stage. When you're in the booth, everything is right there in front of you. You
Yeah,
see what the anime is going to look like. You have your dialogue in front of you. You can really focus on how you really want to put emphasis on lines or words. Um, and in stage work, it all has to be rehearsed, um, to the nth degree. So when you go and present it, it's exactly what the director and the choreographer and everybody else on the production team is hoping that you'll bring to the piece. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, there's a lot of other technical things that are going on, especially with your voice and your body. Um, I
yeah,
know a lot of voice actors who are great voice actors. They really have no desire to be on the stage, for whatever reason. Uh, you know, like I said earlier, it's stage acting is a completely other discipline. So um, it's which is kind of cool because there's some people that some stage actors they've never done voice acting before, and so their learning curve, again, we go back to square one, and their learning curve is steep, and they've got to learn a lot of things about how to act behind the mic, and there are certain things that you do on stage that you would never do behind the mic,
Mm.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so, uh, for example, if I was presenting a on stage version of Elias Ainsworth in Ancient Magus Bride, the his voice would be a little bit different because it would be presented on the stage, because it wouldn't be, close mic'd, and all of those intimate conversations have to be presented to 500 seats or 1,000 seats or whatever.
Yeah, they got to be
So
projected more.
so it would be different. Um, but all all of those are different uh, disciplines of the acting art form. So, uh, and it's I akin it to shifting gears. You're still acting, but you're shifting into another place.
Yes.
It's not necessarily a downshift or an upshift. For those of you that have ever driven a manual transmission, um, it's it's just a lateral thing. You're going to a different place, but you're
Yes. 100%.
taking all of your skills and your abilities to that place, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, when it comes to, going from your plays and talking about, more on the anime side, do you read manga? Do you watch anime? Like, how often? Is it something you do with your family? Is it something you do by yourself? Like, give us the 419 on that.
I don't. Um,
Okay. You don't
I
read
I I don't
read
read
or
I
watch?
don't read manga.
Okay.
I don't watch a lot of anime. Sometimes I'll watch the things that I've done,
Yeah.
um, so I can see what the finished product looked like or it sounds like. Um,
Okay.
Occasionally, I've watched some anime that I'm not in, especially if it's trending, just to
Yeah.
see what's really interesting about it and that sort of thing. I have several voice actors that I work with a lot that are they really follow the manga and they follow other anime shows pretty closely. Um,
Yeah.
I still respect it. It's being good to me. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
Okay.
and I know that it's a big world out there with the manga fans and the anime fans.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's a
it's
fine line.
like I said, I'm a huge One Piece fan, and getting to meet the voice actor for Garp is really interesting. And like, since I'm caught up on the manga and I know where everything's going, I'm just like, oh, I'm looking forward because there's some exciting Garp stuff in the future, and I'm like, I hope everything is like, it's gonna be awesome to kind of see that play out and things. Now, with characters that you play in the background, which you called it something, you had a name for it earlier. What was it called?
They call it Walla, and
Walla. Okay.
and I don't I that's I don't even know what that means.
Uh,
Somebody's going to chime in when they watch this and go, "You
yeah.
dummy, you should know what Walla means. It means this." Um,
Well, I was in the film industry for a while, so it's like we called it something similar to that, where it's just like, well, no, we had a different name for something else with characters in the background and stuff like that. But
mhm.
with Walla work versus either, I want to say, supporting cast or main character work, what do you find is like the differences in that? Like, do you find that there is a difference, or like in
Well,
performance?
it's yeah, it's still a performance. It's just in a in a almost microcosm, right? Microcosm,
All right.
into a microcosm, um,
Yes.
because when for example, when you're watching anime and you see a big crowd scene, or you see some sort of angry mob or something like that, somebody had to record all that, and we don't really
Yeah.
think about it because it's part of the story and it's atmosphere, and we're paying attention to the story, but we don't really pay attention to the fact that there are these people talking and having responses to something that's going on in the scene. So sometimes you will go into the studio, and sometimes you're in there with 2 or 3 other guys. Sometimes you're with a guy and a couple of girls to give some vocal textures and things like that. Doesn't matter. You'll have there with multiple people, and you'll all be in the studio together. And sometimes the director will give you, this is what's happening in the scene. You're an angry mob. You are in support of the hero character. You
Yes.
are wanting them to kill this beast or whatever. You want them to save the village. They will give you a couple of parameters of, let me hear these kinds of exclamations that you would say. And they'll just start recording. And and they'll get a bed of that audio, and then we'll go back and do it again. Sometimes we'll do it again. We'll do it 3 times, and it gets multi-layered, and it sounds like a big group of people.
Oh
Oh, there's
wow.
a bunch of my characters. Look at that.
Yeah. I like to pull things up as people are talking about certain things. So it's like these are literally a bunch of characters from different animes that you have, and it's like some of them I notice, some of them I don't know what they're from, but I like it. This is from Soul Eater. This is from Ancient Magus Bride. This is Garp from One Piece. This is from Fullmetal Alchemist. This character, where's the character go? This character looks like they're from Conan. I don't know if it is. If you've ever played a character in Conan, that's what this looks like it's from. But
He might be.
I couldn't tell you.
I'm not sure. It's
Yeah.
hard to keep them all straight.
Yeah.
Let's see. The guy with the glasses and the white beard is Bacchus from Rage of Bahamut.
Okay.
And
Yeah, there's a lot of characters. No, you're
yeah.
good. You're good.
And there's a bunch of them other ones in there too. And let's see.
Because
I think
I
the
see
guy
you
in the
play 2 different characters. Oh, what are you gonna say?
the guy in the upper left corner, I think that's from How to Not Summon a Demon Lord. I think.
This one?
No, the one above.
Oh,
I
this one.
think.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
This art style
Um,
is from Attack on Titan, it looks like.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
How to Not Summon a Demon Lord, Attack on Titan. So you've had a wide range of different animes and shows. Like I know you've played, Ancient Magus Bride, Rage of Bahamut, Fairy Tail, One Piece, Land of Lustrous,
Mm-hmm.
Black Clover, and The Boy and the Beast, and just many, many more. Like I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of The Boy and the Beast. That's one of the ones that I was like, oh, this is a really good movie.
Cool.
Black Clover as well. Like, do you remember what you really enjoy the most from doing a lot of voiceover work or voice acting? Is there something that you're like, oh, I love doing this stuff, and you're like, this part is my least favorite, just kind of to get more like into, you're like, oh, I love all this stuff, but like if I didn't have to do this, I wouldn't have to do it.
Let's see. There's been several that have been, a lot of fun. And there's some that I need to promote a little bit more, like Salaryman's Club.
Okay.
Let's see. Decadence was cool. We recorded that during the pandemic, so I was recording that at home.
How was
That
that
was
for you,
that
recording
was
during
his
the pandemic?
own challenge. Yeah, I recorded Fire Force from home too.
Okay, so you were fine.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, yeah. I was Honda in. Is that right? Honda in Fire Force or
Really?
Hondo. Yeah. Um, and then there's let's see, there's a few new ones out there. Uh, Sacrificial Princess and King of Beasts. I play this kind of lizard advisor in that show. Um, but you're to go back to your question. Some of those characters, I got to make really broad choices and try things. Um, and then some of them are just sounding, very authoritarian. This is who they are. It's not particularly exciting, but it is necessary to the
Yeah.
story. Um, and you just try to do the best that you can to make it interesting, because otherwise, why did they write that scene, and why did they cast you in that part? So um, you have to kind of look at it like that. You're
I think that's fair because I always tell people, there's no matter what you do, there's always going to be the part of the job that you like, and the part of the job you're like, okay, we gotta do this. Like for me, I draw these manga panels, and I draw these luxurious like people doing all these poses, doing all these attacks, doing all these things. The hardest thing sometimes is like making things feel real within the world when you're illustrating it, and you're just like, okay, I have to draw a level of detail I'm not quite comfortable with yet, but like you said, it's necessary to give people that experience, and to
Mhm.
tap into it is just sometimes it takes a little bit of time, sometimes it takes a little bit of understanding, sometimes it takes both. And the whole time you're just like, okay, what do I have to do to get into this place for me to give my best performance so that way, the audience or can be entertained. And then you go into it, you do your thing, and like, okay, I had a lot
Yeah,
of fun doing it. And I think that's exactly what you're saying is like, you know, it's something that is necessary. Not exactly like terrible, but at the same time, you're like, if I didn't
yeah,
have to do this, I would be okay. But I want to do this in order to give the best experience I can. So I
sure, of
definitely
course.
understand
Yeah.
that. So going into looking at these different characters, who would you say is your top three favorite roles to play voice acting wise?
Well, I've definitely had a great time with Elias.
Yes.
uh, for a lot of different reasons, because he doesn't. If you if you have really hardcore anime fans out there who understand how it is to record uh,
Yeah.
overdubs for anime, Elias doesn't have any what they call flaps. He has no mouth movements, so we have a little more acting freedom with him,
Okay.
because we don't have to match anything. Um, and he has his own warmness, and he's genuine, and he's always honest, uh, and but I enjoy playing because people like him, you know the fans
Yeah.
that watch that show, they like him. um, and compare that to Garp. People like him because he's cranky, and
Yeah.
gruff and rough and all that kind of thing. And uh, and Garp is always, not always, but most of the time he's over the top, and he's loud, and he's barking at people, and he's punching his grandson, and you know
Yeah, yeah,
and giving him a hard
yeah.
time, and that kind of thing. Um, let's see. There's been quite a few. I
Seems like that
mentioned
top 3 seems like it's
I
hard to
mentioned
narrow down.
yeah, I mentioned um Natsume's Book of Friends, uh the Chukyu character, um
Yes.
because he's just so wacky, and I get to do really whatever I want with him, and he sings a little bit, and he sings really badly, so that's really fun,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
make, like, inappropriate choices. Um, uh, there's been a few, man. There's been a lot of them, a lot of voices, um, and characters. Um, One that I had a lot of fun on was I was narrator on a show called Space Battleship Tiramisu, and
Yes.
they were 7-minute episodes, and I was the narrator on that, and a lot of my stuff was not just narrating, but commenting on what was happening in the scene, or commenting to myself how I felt about the writing or what was going on in the scene. And Jeremy Inman directed that, and he again gave me a lot of carte blanche to just make choices and just kind of almost go off script sometimes, because we didn't have any flaps to match or anything. You just heard my voice talking,
Yep.
and it's a crazy show. You could probably watch the entire season in one afternoon, um, and but there's just all this commentary that I have that is it's either snarky or inappropriate or just stupid, and I just had a really good time with him. So yeah.
Okay. I think that stuff like that is always interesting, especially when you start talking about like, you know, I think the most like attractive thing to voice acting when people think about, voice actors, is they really enjoy just how they can bring this character to life. It's
Hmm.
always a little influxes of a character's quirks, because every character in an anime has like a quirk. You're either the angry character, the exciting character, the moody character, things like that.
Right.
And have you gotten to really, I mean, no, well, yeah, you've gotten that range, like you said, going from Elias to Garp are just, then they in themselves are a contrast, and then going to another character where you can kind of be this wacky, like fun person. Do you like being able to bounce around like that when it comes
Oh
to
yeah.
your stuff? Okay, okay.
Oh yeah. It's much more interesting, and I think it's much more fun for um, audiences, especially when they have those moments of who's voicing this, and then they look it up and they go, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that's such and such doing this
Yeah,
voice. That doesn't even sound like them,"
yeah.
or things that I've heard them do in the past. And um, yeah, it's. I feel like if you're just doing the same one note thing, like I said, there are a few people that's what they do really really well.
Yeah.
Um, um, but I think getting to have more choices to do different kinds of things is so much more rewarding.
Now, you've worked with Funimation and Crunchyroll and Sentai Filmworks. Uh, is there a difference in how, they like you to record things? Is it like with one place you record at home, with another place they want you to come in? Like, do you find that and do you find that challenging doing at home versus in the studio, like at one of their facilities?
Good question. Um, so when I've recorded at Funimation, Crunchyroll, uh, Okratron, Sound Cadence, they all pretty much have the same recording style, how it's done.
Gotcha.
When I recorded with Sentai, which is in Houston, Texas, um, they have a they have a different kind of recording style.
Okay.
Um, it's not better or worse; it's just different. It's a different. This is how they do things. Um, you a lot of times with them, you're recording while it's while the anime is running. You're watching it and listening to. You can hear the Japanese in the background, and you're acting on top of that while you're reading the script and that sort of thing. That's just the way
Oh.
that they find in their that's the engineering that works for them. I think is the best way to put it.
Uh-huh.
Um, I feel like directors or engineers. I think they might say that they find more um, maybe they find more immediacy in a performance, more realism. Not to say that they're not getting that from the other studios that I've recorded at. I just feel like they feel that they are getting more of a flow of
Okay.
dialogue, of it becoming more natural to the character. So, and then recording anime from home is super challenging.
Really?
Yeah,
I would figure that would be more easier. Now I know you said during COVID is when you really had to figure that out. So was it during
yeah,
COVID that you found it?
yeah.
You kind of found okay. Go ahead and explain that.
Well, there was a lot of uh, there was a lot of things going on in the booth.
Yeah.
Um, I had to have a device that showed my script. I had to have a device that was showing the recording program, and then I had another device that so I could speak to the director and the engineer in real time. They didn't
Oh.
necessarily need to see me, but I needed to be able to speak to them and talk to them. And um, so I would do just like I would normally do in the studio. I would watch the Japanese and see what was going on in the scene, and then I would have to physically, when we got ready to record, I would physically have to initiate or initiate the recording, start the recording, set some levels that they were telling me what to do. So there was a
Ah.
lot of plates in the air, you
Yeah, it
know.
was like a learning curve almost. Like you had to learn a
Yeah,
lot of
it was
stuff
a
while
man.
doing
It
it.
was you want to talk about that when I said earlier about flying, learning to fly the plane while you're in the air.
Yeah.
That absolutely
He said that's it.
that
That's the one.
that was that was learning to fly the plane in a thunderstorm. Um, because there was just so much going on and so much that you had to be aware of. Um, um, so it's interesting to me when I go back and look at Decadence, or I look at Fire Force. Um, and there's a couple of others that I did too. They don't come to mind immediately, but
Uh-huh.
I think about what I was tasked to do while trying to act and make choices, um, uh, uh, to record it. Feel like, I don't know, like I said about the flying thing. It would be like piloting a ship that you know how to do, but also at the same time you got to tap dance and you got to make some scrambled eggs over here at the same time,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're piloting the ship. And um, I think a lot of that, uh, your instincts took over, and you really, when it came time to record, and you made the choices that you made, you just
yeah. Uh-huh.
went with it, and you went with what you do best, right? And then all of the other engineering things kind of followed along. And if there were adjustments that needed to be made, we did them. And um, it's just it was an amazing experience, because then those files would get sent over, and then they would apply them to the anime, and then you watch it at home, and I'm going, wow, you know,
You're
um,
like, this really came together. This really came together.
yeah, yeah, it's
So
really crazy.
speaking of, all this stuff and juggling all this stuff, um, without getting too personal, explain to me what you think is important when it comes to having that balance with your family and doing all the things that you're doing. Because I think that there's a lot that can be said in this industry where it's like you could either go all in, you can start to have a disconnect with your family, or you can learn to balance it in your own right. Because I don't think there is a true form of work-life balance. I think it's about what you can do and what you're willing to say, hey, I can't do this right now, I'll get to that later. So I mean, kind of explain to those who are going to be looking back at this video, how to have their own form of work-life balance, and explain your work-life balance in a sense.
Well, you did a really good job of explaining it in a few words, by
Thank you, thank you.
by saying the word balance, because that's what it comes down to. To be honest, there are days that I don't have any work, I don't have any recording, um, and things like that, and that's when you have to take care of your life,
Yeah.
and that sort of thing, and it just comes down to this this aspect of my life is important to me, and I have to, and I realize that people are dependent on me, or I have other people that are dependent on me, or I have people that I want to spend time with, or um uh and that sort of thing. And then you have to take into account, you're trying to maintain your health, and you're always looking for the next job, the next gig, um
Yes.
because they don't just fall in every day. You don't just walk in and work every single day.
Yeah.
And um, when you travel, um, that's just an aspect of it. It would be the same thing if you were selling medical supplies and you had to travel
Go around and do
wherever you
stuff.
have to
Yeah.
go to sell medical supplies.
Yeah.
You That's part of the job. Um, you know, uh, there are jobs that keep you at home, but there are people that work 12 hours a day, but they're still at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't see I don't see a whole lot of difference. Um,
Okay.
you're either there or you're not. And
Yeah.
but I do think it's important to know that this is an art form in all aspects of performing arts.
Yeah.
You've made a decision and a choice to nurture this art form, but it only loves you back so much, you know,
Yeah. True. True.
um, and
It's a very good point.
it's very temporal. Um, and the people that support you and love you are the ones that are always going to be there. So you have to make sure that you're supporting them, you know, um, just because you're not always, and you may not always be able to do this. Um, so you have to find other things in your life that are important to you.
You brought up such a good point in that last one where you said, you know, one, you may not always be able to do this. Two, the art form is only going to show you so much love back, where it's like, if you have your family or your friends, and those are the people that you decide to spend time with and make important, like, I love that aspect of this. I love that, this is something that you're like, hey, I love to do for me.
Yeah. Hmm.
And it goes right back to the beginning of our talk. I love to do this for
Yeah.
me. And I'm still going to spend the time with my family when I'm not doing this. It's not going to be as important when I'm with my family. And then when I'm voice acting or acting, I'm focused on this. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Mwah, love you. And it's like
Yeah.
it's that duality. And I think that that's something a lot of people need when getting into any sort of art form, music, film, television, voice acting, things of those nature, because it can be very grueling task to work 10, 12, 14 hours in a day and be like, oh man, I need a lozenge, I need to drink some water, my voice is getting tired. So I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
Let people know, where we can find you. I know you have a Instagram. Well, I'll show
Yeah. I
some
have an
stuff here.
Instagram page, Brian Mathis 17. Um, I have,
Scroll way up here.
yeah, yeah. I have a Twitter or an X, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah,
Um, and
right
that's
here
a
as well.
sing act drum. Um, those are just the three art forms that I love the most. Um, haven't been playing a lot of drums in the last couple of years, but I still love it and I still respect it. And I follow a lot of
Ooh,
drummers, and I have a lot of good friends that are drummers.
okay.
Um, and let's see.
Oh, Facebook page.
Oh yeah, I have a like page. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So follow me on there. One of my goals this year
I
is
love this
to.
face.
Thanks. Um, uh, we took that photo in the lobby of a theater in Houston,
It's so good.
in a doorway. It was just a thing that happened. It was one of those random things that I made a face and they snapped it, and I was like, that is so cool,
Yeah.
because it's just so wild. Um,
Yeah. So good.
but yeah, those are all my socials. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Where
don't.
else can
Well,
we
one of
find
my
you?
goals this year is to try to present a little bit more uh, stuff on all my social platforms. I'm gonna start doing more. I'm gonna start posting singing stuff that I've been
Ooh. Okay.
working
Okay.
on. I'm gonna be working on trying to post some snippets and reels from some of the shows that I've done. That's a little labor intensive to get all that done
Yeah. Yeah.
and get things posted. It's because you have to go through and watch all this stuff and find these moments, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but yeah, so I want to do that. I have some cons coming up. I can't. They're all tentative right now. I'm waiting to get confirmation on those. Um,
Hopefully, I'll see you. I have a couple
yeah.
cons that I'm hosting panel work at, and
Oh,
I'm gonna be
good.
doing some stuff at too. So hopefully, I see you.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be great. Um, and let's see. I don't have any theater on the horizon yet. That's just the way that this business goes. Um,
Okay.
um,
Do
if
you
you
have any?
want
You
to,
doing any television?
I yeah, I've got. Uh, I just had. They just released Lawman Bass Reeves on Paramount Plus, and I'm in
Yes.
the very first episode of that,
Okay.
and you can see that. Um, that's been very. They've gotten a lot of views, so I'm really excited about. I don't know if that show is going to continue. I think it was just a limited thing, but
Okay.
I am in the first episode. I have a film coming out this summer um, called King Ivory, and that we shot that up in Tulsa, Claremore, Oklahoma.
Oh. Okay.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
and
This is
there's a
the
lot of
show.
really, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
There he is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, I got to do all the things in that one scene. You'll have to see it to find out. Um, yeah,
Okay.
and but yeah, King Ivory comes out I think in July. I've got a small, nice little prison guard role in that, um, and we just keep forging ahead, man. Um, trying to get
Anything
some
on the
things happen.
horizon? Anything on the horizon for Ancient Magus Bride, or with One Piece? I gotta
Yeah,
ask the One Piece questions because my fans are like, "We know you're a fan of One Piece. You better ask some some questions of that." So I was like, "Okay, I gotta
um,
ask."
for sure. I can tell you about Ancient Magus Bride. We just finished
Yes,
recording
go ahead.
season 2 finally, and all of that is going to be uh, uh, coming out. Of course, you can watch season 1 right now, and
Yes.
I believe you can watch the first part of season 2. That's out right
Uh,
now.
yeah.
Um, and then as far as One Piece, uh, I I don't know when the next where we might see Garp again. Um, I just don't know. I don't know.
No, no, yeah,
But
you're good. You're good.
I don't know if you know this. There's another character that I do in One Piece that showed up a couple of times. And if
Oh,
you want to look him up real quick, his name was Minatomo, and he
is he the
was
guys with?
like with the
Go ahead. Go ahead.
nails in his nose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hang
Yeah,
on.
that's
I saw that recently, and I was like, "Is he doing this character?"
yeah.
Let me see really quick.
So
I
I'm
see if I
doing
can find it.
Minatomo and Admiral Garp. So
Ooh, See, and this is something that I know a lot of people are excited about because uh there I will tell you, there is a lot happening in there's a lot happening in One Piece as of right now with, like, in the manga, and Garp comes back in a pretty big way. That's all I'll say. So people, so because I know there's gonna be people who are like, "Oh, like, does he know if he?" I'm like, I don't know, guys. We'll have
They
to
don't
figure it
tell me.
out.
They
We'll
don't
have to
tell me a
wait.
lot. They don't tell me a lot.
Well,
Yeah,
that's fair, true, and I
yeah.
guess to follow up on that question, I don't know where it's at. To follow up on that question, I was gonna ask, what is it like? How, like, when it comes to the voice acting jobs, and I guess this will be, oh, here it is. This will be one of the last questions I'll ask you along with this. Is like, when it comes to the different gigs that you have going on, or the jobs or positions that you have going on with the voiceover work or the voice acting work, when you get approached or you apply for one of these positions, what's that process like? What goes in your mind? Like, do you like have an agent who's like, hey, you should try this out, or do you go through and say, hey, I'm gonna try and apply for these roles, just for people who want to kind of see, like, about being a part of this industry?
I think that a lot of that it depends on the studio.
Okay,
Um, it
so
depends
Sentai
on
Works,
yeah, it
all these
depends
other
on who
ones.
they are. Uh, my experience with all of those studios has been audition based,
Okay.
um, and they all have their own audition protocol, for lack of a better word,
Oh,
that they use.
okay.
Sometimes they have general auditions where you submit things and uh, they keep it in a bank of auditions that they can pull from and listen to. Sometimes you'll get directly sent an audition for um, some sort of new show with new kinds of characters, and they want to hear different choices. Um, Sometimes you just get the call that you've been cast uh, in this particular series or this episode, and you go in and record it. So there's lots of different ways how that happens.
Okay. Okay.
So,
All right. Well, we are definitely about an hour, 7 minutes in. Brian, I appreciate you being a part of this. I appreciate you giving me your time to talk about this stuff. And I'm definitely going to keep in touch because I like the work. I always like what you're doing. And it's exciting, man. Is there anything else you want to say before we skedaddle out of here?
well, I appreciate your time, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Just check out if you're interested. Check out some of the other shows that I've done. You can find them on my IMDb page and behind the
Yes.
voice actors and that sort of thing. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and you can find other shows that I've done that you may have been curious about, or you may have been following. You didn't know that I was in. Um, so yeah, um, and those of you that are just getting started, keep doing your thing and creating your art, and uh, you know, keep sharing your gifts with us. So
Yeah. Well, stick around for a second. I'm gonna do an outro, and then I actually want to talk to you just a few more minutes if you got time.
sure, you bet.
Okay. Yo, I appreciate everybody for coming. Thank you once again. This is an amazing experience to be able to sit down and talk to the amazing Brian Mathis. He has done so many different voice acting roles, so many acting roles, stage plays, and even some TV appearances. So yeah, it was awesome. And if you like the video and you want me to bring on other voice actors, other people who have been in the industry like Brian, please let me know down in the comments. And if you have any questions for Brian, feel free to go over to his social media. You've seen it inside the video, and be sure to follow his journey and his experience. Later, guys.